Generation X had the best Michael Jackson. We had Moonwalk Michael Jackson.
Wow.
That is the greatest Michael Jackson ever. Millennials, y'all had documentary Michael Jackson. Generation are you? It doesn't matter, I don't care. That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. Only gonna give me more cred as a Gen Xer. You'll only make me more powerful.
I hear all the time about how Gen Xers love to be left alone. You just want to do your own thing and not be bothered. So why do you think I'm going to continue to bother you guys? Right? Because I've got a very curious mind and I love going back to the past, especially to you Gen Xers, to figure out exactly what was going on and bothering you guys some more. Guys, look, we're going to be checking out Jason Salmon. This is my first time ever checking him out on the channel. And this is titled Gen X. So you know what I did as a Gen Zer? I said, let me click on this video and let's react to it. I have not seen it before. I don't know what he's gonna be talking about, but I recently did a reaction to Karen Morgan on the truth about Gen X. So you guys seem to love it. So I said, let me check out another comedian that has his input on Gen X by the seams of it. And yeah, guys, I'm excited to get into this one. Of course, if you love how I'm getting to the past, check out these kinds of videos and make sure you continue to smash the like button. So I've got more of that coming your way on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on those post notifications, as well as look ways you can support this channel in above and beyond ways. If you love my content so much, will be linked in the description to things like my PayPal, where you can donate to the channel, as well as my Patreon. You get exclusive bonus reactions, as well as early release content. I recently did a full album review of Prince's Purple Rain album. I recently showed my sister Prince for the very first time, and I'm doing some 1980s sitcoms such as Married with Children, and I'm planning to do some more. So if you haven't gotten on the Patreon already, get on over there if you guys, because you guys aren't going to want to miss out. And of course, guys, look, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
I don't even care. That's how Gen X I am. That's a calling card of our generation, right? It's not even dismissive to a Gen Xer. It's like, I don't care. I don't care also. Nice to meet you. What generation are you?
Guys, I promise you haven't seen any of this video before, but like I've done quite a few of these reactions, and you guys, Gen Xers keep saying they love being left alone. So the fact that he just said it off the jump, it seems to be the case. I don't know if you guys are just saying that or if that's actually how you guys are, but it seems like that's how you guys actually are.
I don't care also. Nice to meet you. What generation are you? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. If y'all don't like this joke, guess what?
I don't care.
You're only going to give me more cred as a Gen Xer. You'll only make me more powerful. But we are a lucky generation. We're the only generation currently alive that didn't spend our youth with America at war. Think about that. Boomers had Vietnam. Millennials, everybody after. Afghanistan. We had this long stretch of relative peace.
Interesting.
I mean, George Bush sent a few guys to Kuwait for like a long weekend. It's like, all right, was that a war? Not by American standards. That was not a war. Felt like more of an excursion, to be honest.
Excursion, wow.
By the way, we had the best George Bush, Generation X. We had the George Bush that wore glasses and had exit strategies. That was a better model.
I'm not too familiar with George Bush being in the UK. I think he's the president, I'm guessing. So you guys fill me in on a little bit of that context, please.
Wore glasses and had exit strategies. That was a better model of George Bush. In Gen X, we call that George Bush Classic.
Right.
But it's easy to spot that we're a lucky generation because we're sandwiched between the two most dynamically angry generations currently alive.
Boomers and millennials.
Boomers and millennials hate each other. They do.
Oh, guys, look, I'm telling you, I've done a few of these reactions. I feel like I can predict some of these jokes, you know. I'll be so raw. I don't know why there's tension between boomers and millennials. I think boomers just don't like millennials doing things differently. Part of that. And maybe a bit of jealousy, envy, just a bit of haters, like the older kids bullying the younger ones type energy. And the Gen X are just in the middle, just like, they just don't care. Maybe some of them do, but like most of you guys just don't care. From what I've
Boomers and millennials hate each other. They do. I hear it all the time. It's like, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. I'm like, hey, you're both right. Chill out. Chill out.
Here are 3 results you can expect as someone who's been a Whoop member for over 6 years. Whoop is a 24/7 wearable that tracks your sleep, recovery.
Sorry, darling. Don't remember asking. Don't remember asking one bit.
Chill out. Chill out. But I get it. I get why they're two angry generations, because these are two generations that experience these huge swings between human achievement and human disappointment, right? Boomers established civil rights, fair housing, but in order to get there were assassinations, race riots, KKK.
Right.
Millennials elected the first black president in American history.
Obama.
And then they elected the next president. Who brought back race riots and the KKK. I mean, it's just a full circle. And then in the middle, Gen X, we just watched Soul Train and listened to hip hop and fell in love with Oprah and all the Michaels. It was a great generation for Michaels in America. We had Tyson, Jordan, Jackson. Generation X had the best Michael Jackson. We had Moonwalk Michael Jackson.
Wow.
That is the greatest Michael Jackson ever. Boomers, you had little Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, cute, talented, but nowhere near Thriller level Michael Jackson.
Right.
Millennials, y'all had documentary Michael Jackson. No.
That's a good joke.
That is a confusing applause point, I gotta be honest with you. But that's the thing.
You guys gotta let me know if you think that's true or not. I feel like there's not as many millennials probably that watch me, more probably Gen Xers and Boomers. So it might be a bit biased in the conversation below. But I would love to know what you guys think about these jokes so far, man.
Millennials had the worst of a lot of things. They did. Millennials introduced ghosting to the world as a way to end a relationship. In Gen X, ghosting just meant that Demi Moore's boyfriend had to die to become remotely interested in her pottery hobby.
Someone really like
And I hear people criticize millennials for being the participation trophy generation, but I have to remind them this is a generation that grew up in the shadow of 9/11. They graduate college at the 08 financial crash. They finally climb out of their parents' basement, and the whole world just shuts down for 2 years. They experience a lifetime flood or fire or recession almost every year. If that's what they've got to participate in, give them a trophy. Just give them a trophy. I'm glad some of them are still participating, to be honest with you. Because I think the key to understanding a generation is you got to understand the world that they grew up in.
That's fact.
People say millennials are self-involved. We're all self-involved. It's just that millennials learn to embrace it, and that's disturbing to the rest of us. I understand that. But it's not a character flaw. It's a product of their environment. Think about it. Millennials grew up with GPS. Every time they went on a journey, sitting next to them with this robot navigation butler just whispering precise step-by-step instructions in the soothing voice of their choosing. And then when they look at the map, it's telling them that they are the center of the universe. No matter how far they go or which direction they're headed, they're just this bright blue orb of hope that the entire world just arranges itself around. That's gonna mess with your sense of self, it is.
Oh my
And of course it's gonna irritate boomers because every time they went on a trip, the thing giving them directions was a disappointed spouse or parent. And not in the voice of their choosing, but in the voice they hated most in the whole world. That's why boomers will never be fully comfortable around a GPS. It's just too nice. Have you ever been in the car?
So, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, a little bit of hate and energy from the boomers because now things are different is what I'm kind of guessing where a lot of the tension's coming from. But even how we just described that whole GPS, like from a Gen X perspective, like it's interesting to see how Gen X's view like technology. Obviously, I grew up in it, being a Gen Z. I grew up within it, so to me, it's like normal. To me, I don't know what it was like before it. Like when I think of a car ride, a phone is instantly just in my imagination, and a GPS is somewhere involved, and Bluetooth. Do you know what I mean? You know, so to hear it being described like this from another perspective, so you guys had a little bit of perspective before, it's interesting. It's interesting. For me, it's like normal.
With a boomer and a GPS at the same time, it is a fight to the death. That is navigational Highlander in that car. I'll be driving down the road with my mom, and that GPS is like, turn right in 1,000 feet. And my mom's like, don't you do it. Don't you dare turn right. I'm like, Mom, I love you, but I'm going to go with the thing that can see traffic from the sky today. That's how we're doing this journey.
See traffic from the sky.
But I understand her perspective, too, as a boomer. Because when boomers went on trips, they had to know things. They had to have skills. They had to start preparing the night before by unfolding a map that was sometimes the size of their house. And the first thing they had to do was figure out where they even were on the map. Think about that.
Yeah,
if every
that's
time
mad.
you went on a trip,
That's
your
mad.
first step was to find yourself.
Yeah, I've never thought about like, opening a map, nor have I ever actually opened a map to look for directions that hasn't been from a technological device. To actually like imagine that, that's different. That's different. Like you actually had to find where you were. And what if the map needed to be updated? What if there was traffic coming you didn't know? You would just have to go off of your like memory or your knowledge of the place. Yo, that's different, man. Look, man, times have changed. I'm glad I didn't have to go through that. But I can also, like you said, it's different perspectives. Like some of you guys may be looking at me going, "Rah, like you don't know like what you have." To me, it's just like what I grew up with. Do I deserve to be hated on because of that? I don't know. I don't think so. Like it's all I know. If I knew better, then I'll be still just choosing the internet. But it's to say, maybe I'd have a little bit more empathy or like, be able to relate a bit more. But other than that, like, I'm just a Gen Z Brit born in the 2000s with a curious mind who grew up with phones. Let alone millennials here, man. Or Gen X.
Do you realize the level of existential stability that requires? That's why every time a boomer reaches their destination, their first 10 minutes of conversation is just, how did you get here? But I grew up Generation X, one foot in both worlds. I knew technology was great, but also stupid, because I had MapQuest.
MapQuest?
Yeah. I had to start preparing the night before, too, but just by printing out 28 pages. And the first 17 of them were just to get off the street that I lived on. That's stupid. That's stupid.
So you have to print pictures of where you was gonna go? What?
Stupid. That's stupid. But I understand. Generation X, we were in that sweet spot in American history. After the boomers had taught us to just say no, but before millennials had taught us that no meant no. So we were having a good time. We were. Because millennials know so many things, and they care about so many things. And boomers, you know like 10 things. And you only care about 4 of them. And Gen X, I grew up going to schools filled with lead paint and asbestos, and I thought the things I should fear most were Y2K and quicksand. So,
Okay.
I feel like all of that was a lie.
Y2K and quicksand. What is Y2K? What is that? Could someone please inform me on that? I've heard that before. Am I being silly here? Is that like a acronym for something that I do know? Please inform me, guys.
I feel like all of that was a lie. Because it's about your access to information. These are 3 generations that are defined by that access to information. Boomers, 3 channels, that's not nearly enough information. Somebody's gonna gaslight you. Millennials, YouTube, that's way too much information.
Right.
You're gonna gaslight yourself.
Right.
Generation X was a generation that realized that 200 channels is the perfect amount of information for the human brain to process without imploding on itself.
That's good.
Yeah, we had a big bird and a crime dog and a bear that was trying to pin the blame for forest fires on us. Our guns had roses.
What?
Our baloney had a first name. It was a nice era of information. It was.
I don't know about all of that.
And that's why we understand that millennials and boomers will never fully be able to connect with each other. They won't. These are 2 vastly different generations. Boomers experience Spider-Man only as a comic book, and millennials think that his superpower is that every time he takes off his mask, he's a different actor. That's too big of a chasm. It is. So I feel like it's my job to translate between the generations.
I see.
I have those conversations. I talked to my dad about gender. Yeah, this is a thing that his whole life was a true-false question, and I had to tell him, no, it's an essay now. This is a man who gave up on technology when DVDs came out, okay? He is not ready for this conversation all by himself.
Oh, yeah.
To tell him that gender is on a spectrum, he grew up watching black and white television. He didn't even realize color was on a spectrum until he was in college. Now I gotta tell him there's a lot of things on the spectrum. Gender, most of my friends in comedy, it's a wild world out there. It really is.
Bro, I'm trying to imagine, yeah, because when he puts into perspective, like, so baby boomers would be like my grandparents. Like, my grandma's probably a boomer. But it's to say, yeah, my grandma's definitely a boomer. So it's like they're just gonna see things so differently. Like, that's something that I also just like as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm starting to care more about like different perspectives. I think when you're younger, like you're in your own world and you don't really like, you think you're grown or you think you're an adult, you think you can do what you want, and then you slowly realize like how the world works. Obviously if you have parents that are showing you and stuff like that, and you just learn through just seeing things. And it's made me appreciate like different perspectives more for how boomers would have saw things, to how Gen X would see things, to millennials, to obviously Gen Z and now Gen Alpha. But yeah, it's definitely, I can imagine it's like, yeah, I can almost understand why there's tension also, like he's saying. Like when you explain it, like it's a different perspectives.
His favorite athlete, Bruce Jenner.
Hold up.
Most of my friends in comedy, it's a wild world out there. It really is. His favorite athlete, Bruce Jenner. Yeah.
Wow.
I had to sit my father down and explain Bruce Jenner no longer exists. He's like, Bruce Jenner's dead? I'm like, no, way more complicated. Way more complicated.
Damn.
But he asked questions. And I credit him for that. He did. Some of them were easy. It's like, how do you spell Caitlyn? I'm like, don't worry about it. I don't think anybody knows how to spell Caitlyn, to be honest. But he asked me about gender reassignment surgery, and that is a much harder question. It is. And I can't possibly understand fully the plight of a transgender person in America. But I did grow up Generation X with the gender fluid music of Boy George, David Bowie, Prince. So I might not understand what you're saying, but I'm still going to listen because I'm not missing the next Purple Rain. I swear, I'm not. So I tried to explain it in terms he would understand. He's like, what's gender reassignment surgery? I'm like, it's sort of like Uncle Andy. Uncle Andy had gastric bypass surgery. A transgender person looks in the mirror. They're like, I don't feel like the person I see in the mirror. And one day Uncle Andy looked in the mirror. He's like, I don't feel like a heavy person. I feel like a slender person. And then he went and had surgery, and he became a slender person. It's basically gender reassignment, Dad. It's basically... Uncle Andy's essentially transgender, but with cellulite. Now, was that an oversimplification? Yes, of course it was.
Right,
but it taught him what he needed to know about the subject. Because now when he hears the term transgender, he doesn't get angry about some random public restroom somewhere in America. He thinks about the time he went fishing with Uncle Andy. He's like, I don't know, I'm okay with it, whatever. I mean, it did get weird the first time he saw Uncle Andy after that, because I think he conflated both of those things into one thing. He just walks up, he hugs him, he's like, you can use whatever bathroom you want while you're here. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how all the bathrooms work in our house anyway, Dad. I think he called his shirt a blouse a few times. He may have used the term trans-slender. I can't remember.
Sure. Yo, what a little segment, man. Look, I didn't know how I was going to take it, but the more I do these reactions, like, I feel like I had a gist. But yeah, like, a lot of this, you know, getting this kind of Gen X perspective, being sandwiched between two very tense, huge generations who went through a lot of different things. And almost mediated between the two. Like, I would love to know if any of you guys watching have that kind of dynamic, maybe with some of your parents that may be alive, let's say, and your children, or would it be either your parents and your children, or your younger siblings, or your whatever. Like, I'll be interested to see if you guys can relate to a lot of what he said here. Let me know if all of this, a lot of it was true as well, alongside if you can relate to it. And let me know, of course, what you guys thought about, again, you know, what I'd say about some of these things as well. Like, fill me in on some of these things here. Obviously, I'm a Gen Z looking into this situation. I was not involved in this, but since hearing these conversations and the dynamics that go on, it's making me look at my parents differently and my grandparents differently. And I'm very much more interested. Obviously, this is more American based, but like, I'm sure there's certain, you know, parallels that you could that are common in the UK as well. But yeah, guys, look, that's my reaction to this. I would love to know what you guys thought. Comment down in the comments below. Comment on a blue heart if you made it to this point. I would love to know what you guys have to say. And I would love to know my rules who made it to the end of the video. And of course, guys, as always, look, I'm your boy JayFlex. This has been Jason Salmon, my very first time checking him out on Gen X. And for those of you guys made this point, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.